Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi
Waalaikumsalam
everyone.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello everyone. Today our group will present a topic about concurrency in operating system. Mm, Next, yes. Uh, this is member of the group. I am Alga Firmansyah.
And hi Sam, and I'm Yanuar Wira.
My name Irsyad Ahmad Darmawan.
Okay, next. Okay. To understand this topic, let's start from a simple situation in daily life. We often open several applications at the same time, such as listening to music while browsing the internet or working on assignment. From the user perspective, everything seems to run simultaneously. However, behind the scenes, the operating system is managing multiple processes and treats efficiently. This is where the concept of concurrency becomes very important. Logically, concurrency is not only about running many processes at once, but also about how the operating system control access to shared resources such as CPU, memory, and input-output devices. Uh, if this control is not handled properly, several of problems can occur. For example, processes might interfere with each other, data can become inconsistent, or the system might even stop responding. From another point of view, concurrency also improves system performance and research utilization, but at the same time, it introduces challenges like rest condition, deadlocks, and starvation. So there is a trade-off between efficiency and system safety that must be carefully managed by the operating system. We hope that after this presentation, you will not only understand the theory, but also be able to relate it to real operating system that we use every day. Without further, let us move on to the first topic. Uh, First, definition of concurrency. Concurrency is an operating system is basically the ability to run multiple process or threads at the same times, overlapping each other. This means that even though the CPU and technically only execute one instruction at a time, the operating system quickly slices up the CPU time among various processes, making it seem like they are all running at once. Next, uh, how co- how concurrency works? Uh, Concurrency works by executing multiple processes or threads simultaneously to maximize CPU and computer resource utilization. While they appear to run in parallel, the system actually manages their execution very quickly through time sharing and synchronization. Example, when you type keyboard input, the system also play music, download files, runs antivirus. All of these runs concurrently. Next, concurrent process that interact each other have several issues that must be resolved. Mutual exclusion, rest condition, deadlock, and starvation. Okay, next. First, mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion is a guarantee that only one process access resource at a given time interval. Mutual exclusion is a condition where there are resources that cannot be used together at the same time. For example, printers. Second, rest condition. Then operating system OS. A rest condition happens when two or more process or threads runs at the same time and access or tweak shared research like memory, files, or kernel variables without properly sciencing. This means the final outcome depends on a pretty unpredictable execution order, which can lead to logic error, corrupted data, or even a system crash. Next, a video about race condition.
Let's imagine two programs that both make use of some shared resource, some piece of data, for example, that both programs need to access. If one program is trying to, say, increase some value by 1, there's no problem. The program can see what the value is, calculate the number 1 higher, and then replace the existing value. A challenge computers face, though, is how to deal with concurrency. If both programs try to access the shared data at the same time, what happens? Well, now we might have a problem. If we're unlucky, both programs will look at the original value, both will calculate the number 1 higher, and then both will try to replace the original value. We meant to increase the value twice, but in effect, we've only ended up with a number increased by 1. This is an example of a race condition, and we'd like to avoid it if possible. To do so, we need some mechanism to ensure that only one program at a time can access some particular region of code, a region commonly called the critical section. One simple strategy is to force the programs to take turns. We can add a value to our setup that is responsible for keeping track of whose turn it is. The turn indicator starts by pointing to one program, and only that program is allowed to enter the critical section. When the program leaves the critical section, they can flip the turn indicator the other way to let it be the other program's turn. This setup does ensure that only one program is in the critical section at any given time, but it's not a great solution if, for example, one of the programs might need to access the critical section much more often than the other. If we need to access the critical section, but it's the other program's turn, then we're forced to wait, even if the other program doesn't need the critical section until later. So there must be a way to do better. Our original problem came about when both programs tried to access the critical section simultaneously, not realizing that the other wanted access too. So let's solve this problem by giving each program a way to first signal their intent to enter the critical section before they actually enter. We'll give each program a signal light that can be toggled on or toggled off. Anytime a program wants to enter the critical section, they'll first turn on their signal light to indicate their intent. Then, to be safe, each program must obey this rule. A program can never enter the critical section if the other program's signal light is turned on. If the other program's signal light is turned off, then we know they don't want to enter the critical section, so we're free to enter it and access the shared data, regardless of which way the turn indicator is pointing. After all, if the other program doesn't signal intent to enter, we know we can enter the critical section without conflict. After we're done, we can exit and turn off our signal light. This approach now lets a program that needs access to the critical section more frequently do so. What we need to be careful about, though, is what happens when both programs want to enter the critical section. In that case, both programs turn on their signal lights, but remember, no program is allowed to access the critical section if the other program's signal light is turned on. So both programs are now stuck in what's known as deadlock. Both programs are left waiting forever for the other program's light to turn off, but neither light ever turns off. We need some way then to resolve this deadlock. When both signal lights are on, well, that's when we can now look back to the turn indicator to let it decide who gets to enter the section next. If ever we want to enter the critical section, but the other program's signal light is turned on, we can check to see whose turn it is. And if the turn indicator says that it's the other program's turn, then we should turn off our own signal light, then wait for it to be our turn, and only afterwards turn our own signal light back on. The other program, meanwhile, when it sees that our signal light has been turned off, can then enter the critical section, work with the shared data, and then exit. Once it exits, the program should toggle the turn indicator back to us, and then it can turn off its own signal light. Once we see the turn indicator switch, we'll turn our own signal light back on, and since the other program's signal light is turned off, we are now clear to enter the critical section ourselves. This then is Decker's algorithm for solving the mutual exclusion problem. First, we turn on our signal light, and while the other program's signal light is turned on, we can't enter the critical section, so we should instead check to see if it's the other program's turn. If it is, we turn off our signal light, wait for it to become our turn, and then turn on our signal light again. Once the other program's signal light turns off, we can now enter the critical section, do the work we need, and then switch the turn indicator to let it be the other program's turn, and then turn off our own signal light. It's a lot of precision for what might sound like a simple problem, but we need that precision. Without signaling, we might end up with race conditions, where two programs enter the critical section at the same time. Without keeping track of turns, we might inadvertently let one faster program have all the access to the critical section, starving the other slower program of the access that it needs. And without turning off our own light when it's the other program's turn, then we could get stuck in a deadlock. These are the kinds of challenges we need to deal with whenever thinking about concurrency. Decker's algorithm isn't the only way to solve this problem, but it was one of the first algorithms invented to do so. And it's able to work without any special hardware, just 3 pieces of data, 2 signals and 1 turn indicator to help make sure that 2 programs can share access to data without conflict.
Okay, next presentation is Januar.
Thank you for my partner Alga. The next presentation is deadlock. Deadlock is a process deadlock condition where there are 2 or more processes that wait for each other to release the resource they are using. In a deadlock situation, if a process does not release the resource it is using, the other process will remain in a waiting state because the status of this process is waiting for other process to release the resource. There will be no progress in the process, so the process will no longer run and communication between process will stop. And we have a picture of deadlock. We have 4 resource and 3 process. Resource 2 is used by process 2 and process 1. Process 1 need resource 1, but resource 1 is used by process 2. Process 2 need resource 3, but resource 3 is used by process 3. Process 3 need resource 2 but process 2 is used by process 1 and process 2. This situation is we call deadlock. For the simulation, we have a video of a deadlock.
Mari kita masuki dunia sistem operasi yang menarik. Di dalam dunia komputer, terdapat konsep yang sangat menentang yang dikenal sebagai deadlock. Mari kita jelajahi bersama apa itu deadlock dalam sistem operasi. Dalam sistem komputer harus mengolah banyak tugas secara bersamaan. Bayangkan ini seperti mengelola beberapa karakter dalam sebuah permainan video yang berjalan secara bersamaan. Terkadang, tugas-tugas ini memerlukan sumber daya yang bersifat eksklusif seperti memori atau perangkat keras. Nah, deadlock terjadi ketika beberapa tugas saling membutuhkan sumber daya yang sama. Inilah yang disebut sebagai kebutuhan. Mirip dengan situasi kita sebelumnya di dunia animasi, saat 3 pilihan dihadapkan kepada karakter kita. Situasi deadlock dalam sistem operasi dapat diilustrasikan seperti ini. Misalnya ada tugas A dan tugas B. Tugas A memiliki sumber daya X dan membutuhkan sumber daya Y untuk menyelesaikan tugas sepenuhnya. Sementara itu, tugas B memiliki sumber daya Y dan membutuhkan sumber daya X. Keduanya berhenti bekerja saat yang bersamaan karena tidak dapat memenuhi kebutuhan sumber daya yang belum terpenuhi. Dalam dunia nyata, deadlock dapat menjadi tantangan serius. Ini bisa terjadi dalam beberapa situasi, seperti ketika beberapa proses saling membutuhkan sumber daya yang terbatas, seperti CPU, memori, atau perangkat keras lainnya. Tanpa tindakan yang tepat, sistem bisa terjebak dalam situasi deadlock yang dapat menghambat kinerja dan mengganggu pengalaman pengguna. Namun, seperti dalam film animasi kita sebelumnya, deadlock dalam sistem operasi juga memiliki solusinya. Ada beberapa teknik yang dapat diterapkan untuk mengatasi atau mencegah deadlock, seperti alokasi sumber daya yang lebih bijaksana, pemantauan sumber daya, atau pendekatan lainnya yang menghindari situasi di mana tugas-tugas terjebak. Jadi, itulah deadlock dalam sistem operasi. Sebuah konsep yang menentang. Tetapi dengan pemahaman yang tepat dan tindakan yang bijaksana, kita dapat menjaga sistem kita tetap berjalan tanpa terperangkap dalam kebutuhan yang tidak diinginkan. Terima kasih telah bergabung dalam petualangan kami untuk memahami konsep deadlock dalam sistem operasi.
Okay, the next is starvation. Starvation is a process of waiting for an event or the result of another process in order to complete its task. But the event it is waiting for never occurs because it is always taken first by another process. Starvation occurs when a process does not receive the resource it needs for a long period of time because those resources are consistently allocated to process with higher priority. For the simulation, we have a video. Okay, the next materi will be presentation by Irsa.
Okay. Principle of concurrency. The first, allocation of processor service to various processor. This is about how the CPU time is distributed among different tasks. Two, sharing and composition for resources. When multiple processors need the same resource, we need rules to manage who gets it and when. Three, inter-process communication. Process often need often need to exchange data or signal to cooperate. And then four, synchronization of multiple process and activities. This ensures that process work good together in a coordinated and predictable manner, especially when accessing shared data. Next, interaction between process. In a system with multiple process running multaneously, there are two categories of interaction, namely the first process that ignore each other, as allow as so if on the left, these processes are independent. They run on the same machine but don't know about or affect each other. Exception, think of running a word processor and a music mood player. At the same time, their orchestration is independent. And then two, the process of caring for one another indirectly. This occurs when process share a common resource, which we label as X in the diagram on the right. They don't communicate directly, but they indirectly affect each other exclusion by competing for the shared resource. This is where concepts like mutual exclusion become important. Next. Okay, the next presenters by Haisam.
Okay, the difficulties caused by concurrency. Concurrency is the ability of a system to execute multiple tasks or processes at the same time. While beneficial for improving performance, it presents several major challenges. And one, life lock. A life lock, a life lock is a condition where multiple processes continue running and responding to each other, but neither process actually completed its work. Different from deadlock process stop completely, and lifelock process is active but no progress is made. Simple example: imagine the two people walking in opposite direction down a narrow hallway. Person A step to the left, person B also step to the left. But then step to the right together. This happen continuously. They move but never pass. And characteristic of a life lock process remain active, continuous state exchange occurs, no progress. And the two fairness issues. Fairness issues are problem of unfairness in resource allocation where on or more process are consistently disadvantaged. Example, high priority process are always running. Low priority process are constantly waiting. Low priority process experience starvation. Okay. Next key point for resolving concurrency issues. Concurrency issue can be addressed using techniques such as synchronization, locking, transaction system, and fairness. Many real-world applications such as e-commerce, online banking, and chat apps already implement these techniques to maintain system stability even when used by many users simultaneously. Synchronize share data access. Use mechanism such as mutual exclusion, smart horse, or monitor to prevent process from accessing the same data concurrently. And the two, proper use of lock ensure that each resource is locked only when needed and unlocked immediately upon completion to prevent deadlocks. Conclusion, a concept in computer system where multiple processes of their run simultaneously, either truly parallel or seemingly parallel. Maybe just this from me. Thank you.
Okay, VR group concurrency is close. It's done.